Allow me to give you a scenario. You're currently on your gaming platform of choice, going through your currently owned games, and even looking at some of the online sales. You're looking for something to play, and there are several, if not tons, of options to choose from. But every suggestion just doesn't feel like something you want to play at that moment. After about a few minutes or even longer of trying to debate with yourself on what to play, you wind up booting up that game you always seem to default to. And despite having either completed it or having sunk hours upon hours into it already, you still find yourself playing and even enjoying your time. This is a scenario I and many of you have probably found yourself in. Nothing seems appealing, so you just default to what you usually play. It's a game you seem to always return to at some point. A game you consistently find enjoyment in no matter how long it's been since you last played it. The concept of a game you always come back to is interesting to me, because no matter what you may be feeling, you always seem to gravitate back to that specific game for one reason or another. I wouldn't necessarily say it's just your favorite game, for taste can change and your favorite game may not stay your favorite forever. Though I've done a whole video talking about tastes and if gaming is for everyone, so check it out after this one if you want. It was a pretty big passion project of mine. For some though, it could simply just be one of their favorite games or favorite games of all time. While for others like myself, that game could be nowhere near the top of that list. But that concept of a game you always come back to, I decided to deem that game old reliable. It's an idea of mine I've thought about for a long time. I even had pretty in-depth discussions with friends of mine throwing around points as to what it means to be someone's old reliable. In between conversations with people, that definition changed from a person-to-person basis, but there were definitely similarities that stuck around, no matter who I seemed to talk to. So let's go ahead and quickly break down some requirements for what will qualify as old reliable for this video. One of the characteristics of old reliable is it's a game you return to consistently. This doesn't necessarily mean that every day you come back to play the game, which can be the case. But a game can still qualify if it's something you return to after extended periods of time. The length of time doesn't fully rule a game out from being old reliable, but it's definitely something to consider when determining your old reliable, especially if it's a game you tend to default to. The second characteristic of old reliable is you actually enjoy playing the game. This should be a no-brainer, as at the end of the day, video games are to be enjoyed. So if you come back to a game only to absolutely despise the time you spent playing it, can you really call that game your old reliable? This can be a bit flexible though, as I feel you can have a wide range of emotions and feelings when playing that specific game. But the key thing here is amidst all those emotions, you do find enjoyment of some kind when playing it. These are pretty much the only real guidelines for what old reliable can be, as the genre, platform, release dates, popularity, and etc. don't matter. For it's simply all about you and your preferences. With that out of the way, as an example of what old reliable can be, I did a bit of thinking and came to the conclusion that League of Legends is my old reliable. Now wait, for those of you who watch my content, you will know how wild of a statement that is, so allow me to explain. For those of you who don't know, I genuinely hate League of Legends. So much that I even made a video detailing why. I even quit for a few months, but returned nonetheless. League of Legends is the game I default to more often than not, especially in group settings with my friends, and there are genuine moments and times where I have fun. But of course, there are times when I don't. But despite those rough times, I stopped to think about the good moments I shared with my friends while playing the game, and even the good moments of my own. Sometimes even the potential for good moments in the future. I hate the negative parts of League of Legends, and how awful it may feel sometimes. But I always come back, somehow, enjoying myself all over again. Lately, just playing the game with friends has been genuinely enjoyable, picking up some new champions to add to my favorites, as well as rediscovering some favorites of old. Riot has even discussed some changes to the game that I'm actually looking forward to, despite them missing the mark on some monetization choices recently. Is League of Legends my favorite game? Absolutely not even close. All of my points in my previous videos still stand, and I still hold true to the fact that I hate this game. But I can't deny the facts. League of Legends is my old reliable, whether I like it or not. It's a game that I know I can boot up and get some enjoyment out of, but I will say it's a coin flip in how much enjoyment I'll get. Another example could be someone with Mario 64. That person may have a grand time playing the game, but may not play it all the time. After a few months of not playing, they find themselves in a lull and decide to boot up Mario 64, knowing they'll have a good time and get some enjoyment out of their playtime. Sure, they've been away from the game for months, but they still return to, defaulting even, to playing that game that they know will bring them some enjoyment. This is what I feel to be the most simple and possibly common case of how old reliable can be. Of course, as I mentioned before, the reasons for a game being old reliable, the time you're away from the game, and the reasons for going back can vary. But it still lines up consistently with the two ground rules we laid out before. You return to that specific game consistently, and you actually enjoy playing the game. Across tens, hundreds, and sometimes thousands of games at your disposal, there's always just that one that sticks around no matter what. Could it be nostalgia, boredom, sadness, or even anger that brings you back to old reliable, getting you to boot up that one game and start to get some enjoyment? I'm curious to hear about you and your old reliable in the comments below. As usual, I'll be down there replying to comments as well. I wanted to do a smaller video, and inch back into the realm of talking about video game related topics rather than just reviewing and talking about specific games. Not to say that I won't be making videos covering specific games. Hell, I'm trying to experiment with the idea of a hybrid of the two types of videos. I have a few more that I'm looking forward to doing, and yes, Infinite Guitars video is still underway. It's taken me a while to get it done, and it's been difficult to sit down and edit it, as I've been getting more and more ideas for videos and things I want to do. So, if you want to be notified when it or other videos release, or just want to support the channel, consider subscribing and hitting the like button if you enjoyed. And as usual, my name is CrossVee, and hope to see you all next time. Love y'all. Peace.